Hello, Hillsborough. It's Tyler. I've really been trying to watch what I eat the last few years, and it's difficult no matter what. But it can be especially difficult this time of year. And I'm not just talking about sweets and party food, but when things get busy like they tend to do during the holidays, it gets harder to maintain those healthy eating habits. And we have Brian with us today. He's a registered dietitian with the county's Aging Services Department. And he has a lot of great tips for us to improve the way we eat. And it doesn't necessarily have to tip your life upside down to make those changes. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. So let's get to it.
Hello, Hillsborough.
Hey, Hilary.
Hey, Tyler.
So summer's over.
I know. And
Are you sad?
I'm sad because summer is obviously a fun time. Usually you go on vacation, but I am so sick of the heat. I need to move on and get into the winter months of Florida.
Yep. Isn't it interesting how that first wave of cool weather comes through and your brain just changes?
I'm happier.
You know? Yeah.
I'm not meant to live here, I guess. No,
Let's
I love
not
it.
say
Just
that.
kidding. No. But you know what's also hard about this time of year is all of the holiday parties that are about to take place at our office. And they've already put out the candy.
The candy's here, and you know that the baked goods are not far behind them.
Mm-hmm. And we have good coworkers that bake really good cookies and brownies and all sorts of things.
We also have really bad bakers too, but we don't like to talk about them. But don't worry, because we've got the perfect expert here to help walk you through this scary time of year. And we're not talking about Halloween. We're talking about when all the unhealthy food arrives and all the guilt that arrives with it. But you don't necessarily have to feel that way.
Exactly. That's why we wanted to bring Brian on. He's the senior program coordinator and a registered dietitian with Aging Services in the county. And he has some really great tips as we head into the holiday season. So I can't wait to talk to him.
Let's talk to Brian.
Hello, Hillsborough.
Brian, thanks for being here.
Hey, glad to be here, guys. Thanks for the invite.
You're here to destroy our holidays, right? Here to make things
Less fun.
Well, hey, I've been in your all situation too, and it's still an ongoing battle too. All these things we'll be talking about today is something that I'm working on myself, and hopefully it's nothing major, no major changes in people's lives.
So, Brian, what does a dietitian do?
Dietitians have a lot of different roles that they can do. Some work with sports teams like the Bucks or the Rays. Others work in hospitals, counseling people once they've maybe been newly diagnosed with diabetes or cancer or heart disease. I myself work for Aging Services, which is a great department that helps older adults in the community. We have senior centers and dining centers where people can get together and engage with one another, which is so important because social isolation is just as bad as a chronic disease in form of shortening lifespans. So if you can get people out, get them entertained and engaged, and also eating a healthy free meal, that's a great benefit. And so I do a lot of counseling, a lot of nutrition education for older adults. And some people might say, well, hey, I'm 90 years old. Why do I need to listen to you? Or why can't I just eat cookies and ice cream? Well, you can have it to a point, but you also want to make sure you still provide a lot of fruits and vegetables and high quality proteins in your diet too, because who doesn't want to live to 100? And especially if you can live independent and be self-sufficient, that's kind of what I would like.
My father-in-law eats collard greens and hot dogs every day, and he's 81.
Okay.
It's just horrible. It just makes me sick that he eats that every day.
Well, the collard greens are great. Does he put the hot dogs in the collard greens?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you tried it?
No.
Well, try it maybe. I used to do hot dogs and baked beans and back in the day.
That's an American delicacy.
That's a Midwest classic staple there.
So when we're looking at the holidays, and I'm just going to start with Thanksgiving, because I do feel like a lot of people, that's the holiday where you're really gathering together, you're eating a lot of different food, and a lot of people have different ways to go about this. Some of them run the turkey trot or whatever your area calls it, and then go eat, and that's like a good balance. Or what are some other ways for us, like Tyler and I, who don't like to run? Because I do always feel guilty that I don't do that.
Well, that's one great tip to start before Thanksgiving, is to get some kind of exercise. If you like the turkey trot, you get a cool shirt, maybe even a medal. That's not bad. That's great. Do that. You can go for a walk. If you like dancing, rake your yard if you have leaves. Just get out and do something. It doesn't have to be at one time. It doesn't have to be an hour at the gym. You can do it throughout the day. You can do 10-minute increments. If you're going to the grocery store to pick up groceries for Thanksgiving, don't park in the front row. Park towards the very back and at least get some exercise there. Walk around the grocery stores. Go to all the aisles. Don't necessarily stop at the sweets or the bakery, but just keep on walking. Anything you can do to get moving, to get your heart pumping, to get the blood flow, calories. You can do squats with your turkey. I wouldn't recommend dropping it on your foot because you might get a broken toe because those things can be heavy.
Good idea.
Instead of the turkey trot, you can do the turkey squat.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a
actually.
new one. I just came up with that
squat.
one.
So when you look at the dinner table for Christmas or whatever holiday that you celebrate, what is our goal? Like, should we completely throw out the bread and the carbs, or is that okay to have on the table? And should you go more protein? Like, just is there a percentage we should be thinking about?
I think the goal is to have fun, just to enjoy
like
the
that.
holidays,
I like that
just
too.
to enjoy your family and friends and to just be happy. Now, that doesn't mean you should go eat the whole pumpkin pie or raid the cookie table, but just that should be the initial thing. I think a lot of people overstress and they're like, oh, I can't eat this because it has too much sugar and I can't eat that. Well, hopefully you're not eating that every day. And every once in a while you can have a holiday and just enjoy it. I think the big thing too is portion size. Starting off when you get to the house, wherever you are, if you're hosting, one thing that we should probably talk about is after our great turkey trot or our run or exercise, have some food. Don't go starving, which I get it, because in the past I'll be like, well, if I don't eat anything all day or maybe for 2 days, well, that gives me enough calories and fat that I can enjoy a huge big meal. Well, chances are you're just going to overeat. So by having a little something, having some protein like a Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt is so good for you. A lot of protein. Just make sure there's not a lot of added sugar. But plain yogurt's kind of boring. So you can add some berries to it, some blueberries or strawberries. Add a little bit of those healthy fats that we kind of earlier talked about, like walnuts, almonds, to give it a little crunch, give it a little more nutrition and fiber. And I'm a big chia seed guy. Put like a sprinkle of chia seeds in there to get your fiber, fat, and protein. So right before, you're going to have all those nutritious, dense food, and you're not going to be hungry throughout the day. Hopefully you'll be able to resist some of that temptation of going into the holiday party. So what are we talking about? We're going inside the house. I'm visualizing me going into my in-laws' place, the nice, beautiful spread there. One thing we need to make sure is we're hydrated. A lot of times people don't drink enough. And when we don't drink enough, that kind of triggers our brain into thinking we need to get some food. And a lot of food has water in it. So drinking plenty of liquids, and I'm not talking about eggnog.
I was going to say, you might want to specify drinking.
I know. We're gonna specify that. Like 1 cup of eggnog has like 250 calories.
Holy
Wow.
moly.
So drinking plenty of water. Now, if you don't like water, you can go like with a seltzer. Those are pretty good too, or any kind of a sugar-free type of a beverage. Now, juices can have a lot of calories in it, a lot of added sugar. The half cup isn't bad. You can always mix a little bit of juice with a little bit of water. Or one of the tricks I always tell my clients is you can, if you have those old-fashioned ice cube trays, fill it with some juice in there. You put some of the ice in the container, and it slowly melts to give you some flavor. Yet you get some of the juice, you get some of the vitamins and minerals in it too. So
Let's say someone listens to this or on their own decides, we're going to do things a little lighter, a little healthier. What are some substitutes for things that people may not know about?
yeah, so when you're at a party or at a Christmas or Thanksgiving Day meal, you can always go with the proteins. Just get a plain protein like a chicken breast or a turkey breast. Those are going to be lower in calories and fat, but give you the protein, which is going to make you full longer. So really focusing on your plate to have a good source of protein, but also the fruits and vegetables. I sometimes get invited to a party and they say to bring something, and I always bring the carrots and the broccoli and all the vegetable tray that no one seems to eat. But make sure you kind of focus on that. There's a plate method that the USDA has that makes it really simple. In the past, we used to have pyramids and triangles and squares to tell you what to eat. This one is you can apply it to any situation. You take your plate, and hopefully it's not the size of a manhole cover, but it's like a 9-inch plate. It's something very reasonable. And a lot of your paper plates that people use for holidays are the 9-inch plates. So you take it, you divide it in half, you fill it with your vegetables and your fruits. Now, you're probably thinking, well, does mashed potatoes count for a vegetable? Well, no. We want to go with more of like green beans. And I know green bean casserole is very tempting and it's very delicious, and that's okay. Maybe add a spoonful. Maybe stick to a half cup. If you're making it at home, there's different recipes that you can go online to make healthy green bean casserole that might not have as much fat or as much calories and a lot of it comes from those good old onions that you put on top.
That's what I'm
too.
saying. That's the best part,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, I mean, most people can just eat the onions and maybe a couple green beans and call it a day.
Do you even
So-
need the green beans if you got the
I know,
onions?
right?
Yeah, onions and gravy. There you go.
There- that's
That is your
perfect.
perfect meal. So yeah, there's great recipes that you can look on. Google has awesome recipes, and there's so many things that you can do you can add less sugar. If you're making a pie, you don't have to add the whole cup and a half of sugar. You could use a sugar sweetener, but that sometimes has a little controversy for some people. You can use some natural sweeteners, but you have to remember it still is sugar. Some people are like, oh, I can add honey and it's better for you than sugar. Well, when your body digests it, it's still sugar and it breaks down into glucose and still raises your blood sugar. So,
Oh,
I didn't know
I
that.
didn't
That's
know that
really
either.
interesting.
yeah. And if you like pies, you can even go like a crustless pie. You do like an apple pie without the crust, or maybe like baked apples instead of the apple pie, or the apple dumplings and things like that.
So if half my plate's fruits and veggies,
Yes.
is the other half majority protein?
The other half is protein, and then the other part should be your starch.
Okay.
Um,
Which is potato?
Well, yeah, that's where your potato comes in and your breads. But ideally, you'd like to have like high fiber. Try like the brown breads and the whole baked potato instead of the mashed potato or the whole sweet potato. Beans are great. So if you have any kind of beans or lentils in there, that would apply too. And then you'll have like, if you have a little dairy, not eggnog, but you can have a little glass of milk or some cheese, and that's kind of a little separate little part of the plate too. But as long as you stick to half of fruits and veggies, you're good.
So is breakfast really the best meal to eat in your day? I always hear that.
You know what? Growing up, and they're always like, you have to eat breakfast. In fact, there's dietitians in there that will say, I swear you have to eat breakfast, and some swear you don't need it. I myself think it's important, especially like with kids, to have like have a smoothie. I always try to get my kids to eat a little something before going to school to get the good carbohydrates, which is going to fuel your brain to get you going. Now, do you have to go to the restaurant and get the Grand Slam with pancakes, eggs, grits, and all that? No. A little amount will do it. But also, on the flip side, there's a lot of popularity with like intermittent fasting from people fasting for 16 hours and eating for 8 or whatever the ratio is. And studies have shown that sometimes that it does work too. So the important thing to remember is everybody's different. Everybody's got different lifestyles, different cultures, different beliefs. And as long as you fit that into when you're talking with people about nutrition and diet, as long as you consider all those things, you can create a good plan for people to eat.
Just one last question, because I know you work in the aging services
Yes.
department and you're frequently around people who are 100 years old. Is there a secret?
Well, secretly, I'm trying to gather all that information to try to find the secret so I can produce a book
Will you
or
come
a
back?
movie.
Will you come back when
And
you
you're
figure it
not
out?
sharing the secret
Yeah.
on this podcast, but in your upcoming book.
If you mail $9.95 to the following address, I'll be happy to send you that secret out. No, there's actually been a lot of interesting studies out there. It's called the Blue Zone. They have different documentaries on it, and it focuses on different regions throughout the world where there are a lot of centurions. I hope I'm saying that right. People who are 100. I'm trying to sound smart, and they found some keys to how to live longer. And it's not about living longer, because you can be 100 and be stuck in bed and not being able to move. It's about being independent and still having all the keys, just living your life the best you can. So what they've found was there's a couple of things that all these different cultures have in common. And some of it's food, but a lot of it's not food related. They found what we kind of talked about earlier, getting together, eating with people, spending time with people. It gives people a purpose. When they stay in their houses all day, they get lonely and depressed. I'm not saying everybody does. There's some people out there that really do like that, but they've found that all these people who are living to be 100, they get together, they gather. So that's why for us, these dining centers and senior centers and adult daycare centers are so important. It's just more than a meal. It's about being together. So that's one. A lot of these 100-year-old plus people are still working. So they have purpose in their life, and they're still going to people in Italy, like going to the market and selling fruits and selling vegetables, or so they have a purpose to get up every day. They have a good spiritual relationship, whether that's with a religion or just spiritually in itself. So that's important. But then they also have to eat. There's a lot of research called the DASH diet or the Mediterranean diet, which I'm sure you guys have already heard. Focuses a lot of fruits and vegetables, those healthy omega-3 fatty acids that we've talked about. A lot of fish, a lot of chicken, less red meat, and not a lot of sweets, not a lot of processed foods. So they're still making their meals. They're still making the old recipes that their grandparents have passed down to them. So that's a key there too. And then they're exercising. As I mentioned, they're walking. They're walking to the market. They're cleaning their houses and just trying to do that every day. So there could be a couple others that I'm forgetting, but that's kind of the key to it. That's my secret. So now my book is ruined. In fact, my book probably would have been plagiarized from somebody else. So I would have been sued. So you all saved me on that one.
No, that was a great summary of just how to live a good life. I mean, truly.
Yeah. Try to reduce stress. I know it's easier said than done, but try not to let the little things get you down and just trying to breathe. And I'm a big fan of yoga. I can finally touch my toes after 30 years. So that's an accomplishment for me.
Nice.
Or meditation or just like breathing, just taking deep breaths and reading a book, doing things that you enjoy, having time for you, and especially tying it back to the holidays. They're so stressful. And a lot of people have a lot of things going on. And here's the thing that I need to work on, and it drives my wife crazy, is that I have a hard time saying no. So if you're very popular and you have a lot of parties you could go to, you don't have to go. You can say no and pick the ones that you want to. And that's important. You just need to have some me time.
It's always next year.
Yep.
Yeah. So if anyone's listening to this and they think, I want to get more involved and learn more about this, or maybe they're caregivers and they have seniors in their life that they'd like for them to be involved, where can they go to learn more about these programs?
Yeah, on hcfl.gov/aging. We have all our information on there and how they can sign up for the program or get their loved ones signed up. And it's pretty easy. They'll have a great time, and we'd love to have anybody's parents or themselves. The only requirements are that you're a Hillsborough County resident and 60 and above.
I know a father-in-law will be sending your way. Get him off those hot dogs.
And then I'll be sitting there talking to him and watching football, and we'll slowly change his diet.
Thank you so
I think you're
much,
trying to change
Brian.
mine. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it was lovely having you on
Thank
the
you very much.
podcast, and we really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
I appreciate the time and being here.
Thanks, Brian.
Hello, Hillsborough.
Well, how do you feel about that, Hilary?
I really do feel much more confident heading into the holidays. I think that his advice on starting some sort of workout routine now got me really motivated to do that, because then I just feel like mindset wise, that will make me feel more prepared as I head to the holiday dinner parties and everything and not feel so guilty.
Yeah. And I think he made a good point about the impact of things and the little changes you can make too. Like, he says, Thanksgiving comes and goes, and it's one day, but you know what? The next day after is also a day, and it's a day you can make decisions and change things as well. So I think that was a valuable point, that you don't have to be miserable just because you want to eat healthy.
Exactly.
A lot to think about.
It isn't. I think he did a good job at making it not seem so daunting and not making it, don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you heard it, guys. Hilary says during the holidays, don't be too hard on yourself. And it's true. It may seem really difficult and impossible, but it's true.
I mean, you know what? We're supposed to have a good time, right?
That's true. Since our show is called Hello Hillsborough, we don't say goodbye here, but what we do say is thank you so much for joining us. However you spend your day, we really appreciate you taking the time to listen. Remember to click that subscribe button so you never miss a new episode.
And be sure to follow your favorite county on social media. We are at Hillsborough FL on all the platforms. And for more information on everything Hillsborough County, visit hcfl.gov. I'm Hilary.
And I'm Tyler.
See you next time.